From Troy Public Radio, this is TPR Podcast Presents, programming made where you live. I'm Austin Toy. Every week, we bring you selections from one of Troy Public Radio's 17 locally produced podcasts. Today, we've got a short story, and I do mean short. Daniel Wallace's Beneath the Moon and Long Dead Stars is a volume of flash fiction stories, some as short as one page. Today's selection was featured on our Alabama Aloud podcast and is read by Don Noble.
The Men in the Woods. The men who lived in the woods behind my house had been getting out of hand for some time. They were all in their mid-50s, golfers formerly, and meat-eaters, jolly men in general, but since their wives had sent them away to live in the woods, they had become grumpy and discontent. At night, they would bellow and howl. They wanted their televisions and ice makers and chairs beside the vents. They lived like animals in badly made straw huts and ate anything that wandered too close to their turf. We knew what was happening to our dogs and cats, but there was nothing we could do. Some of these men were very powerful. All of them belonged to the country club. One night from a window, I saw them leaving the woods and marching, single file, toward my home. They knocked at the door. "What is it?" I said, staring at their wretchedness through the peephole. "What do you want?" "Your telephone," they said. "We'd like to use your telephone." "That's out of the question," I said. "You can't come in. My wife—" "Your wife," one of them said. "She won't allow it." "His wife won't allow it," said another. "His wife says no," said another. "She must be wonderful," the first one said. "Really, I bet she is." "She is," I said. "My wife is wonderful." "We knew your father," one of the men said. "You're not your father." Then they went away, grumbling, back into the woods. Later, in bed, I told my wife what had happened. "They came here?" she said. I nodded. She was appalled. "I want you to go down there and tell them not to do that. Tell them never to come here again." "Now?" I said. "It's like midnight." "Now," she said, "for me." She kissed me on the cheek. I dressed and walked down the little trail that led to the woods behind our house. I saw a light and followed it. My heart was thumping against my rib cage, and I almost turned back. But I reminded myself that I was doing this for my wife. Acts of service were her love language. I saw them just up ahead. They were cooking squirrel around a fire and drinking coffee from old tin cups. They bellowed and wailed, but they seemed to be having a pretty good time. "Hey, fellas," I said, and all the bellowing stopped, and they looked up at me and smiled. "Please don't come around our house anymore, okay?" They looked at each other, then into the fire. "Okay," they said, shrugging their shoulders. "Fine." It didn't seem to mean that much to them. All they had wanted was the phone. When I turned to go, I could see my house on the hill above me and watched as one light after another was killed, and it was all darkness. It seemed I could even hear the doors shut and lock as my wife prepared for sleep. My house seemed to disappear into the black sky. I paused. "Going so soon?" one of the men said. The fire was bright, warm. "Yeah," said another, "and just when we were getting to know you."
You can hear more stories from Alabama authors on the Alabama Aloud podcast on Spotify or wherever you get your podcasts. I'm Austin Toy, and this is TPR Podcast Presents on listener-supported Troy Public Radio.